Shalom to elect, giving all praise and honor glory to Yahweh Shemel Shai, by Shemar Chakodash, and giving double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone, who well, peace and citation to elect Shemel Mothma, Mary's Mothma, from the Great Millstone Plaintables Camp of Philadelphia, coming with another week lesson. Alright, so we have here, on for the Financial Express, current date being April 14, 2026. Time is flying. All right, a war followed. How United States citizens are affected. Okay, as we do know, the conflict between the United States, Iran, also the state of Israel. Okay, the proxies involved has impacted the world economy. Pardon me. With the Strait of Hormuz moving as it's rose into about I believe they say about 20%. Roughly 20% of the world total oil supply. Then you have liquefied natural gas. Okay. Now this deals with energy and also other goods. Okay, fertilizer. All right. Have a big issue that's been going on, as we see here in America. The average, as you go to the average cost of fuel, okay, like at the pump, about $4.11. Okay, and that's just your basically regular. All right, diesel and all that is up. Okay, $5.61. Okay, that's average. All right, national. Okay, highest states such as California, Hawaii. All right, so it's hurting a lot of people, and that hurts a lot of people's ability to do a lot of things, and also it impacts business owners who have to pay for goods. Okay, to produce a profit. Okay, delivering them meals that you want to eat. Okay, at all costs. Okay, so of course, giving a fair use warning. You have this particular video, which I gotta get it real quick. You have people got concerned about it. All right, so we just gonna play this video. Fair use warning declared, section 107, fair use action. What's that? 1976. Title 17. Okay, U.S. Code. Fair use is, of course, allowance is granted, and for the uses criticism, news reporting, journalism, educational, scholarship, research. All right, so we're just gonna go into this. And as prophecy fulfilled, most individuals are up to what they, normally always going to be up to. Okay? Till the Lord judge them. Okay? Bring that final judgment. Some people, they just going to get hit with a missile, man. Okay? This is real quick, Matthew chapter 24 and 37. It says, but as in the days of Noah, all right, were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood. All right, that's the flood, the first death by water that was. When Noah built the ark, he prophesied for a considerable amount of time. All right, and I think it's like 100. I think it's about. Let me see, when Noah, he probably, I would want to say 126, but I gotta double check. All right, and he prophesied and gave the warning, okay, of the flood, but they didn't believe. Okay, let me see if we can get it, Lord will, but. As it goes into 4, as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving into marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Okay. Now I said, they knew not, knew. Okay, they didn't perceive it or understand, or okay, they didn't feel it. They didn't come to know it because they didn't care. All right, a lot of people don't care about prophecy. Okay, so they just continue. Their minds is blind if they Israelites. Okay, they don't have ears to hear and eyes to see. Okay, they're spiritually calloused. Okay, where they can't get this truth. The truth ain't permeating in them. Okay, and so, they will die the formatting or the death of uncircumcised. All right? And as for the heathen, they're going to get destroyed anyway. Okay? The elite going into slavery, they got the bunkers and things. They're going to be first going into slavery because they, if they outside of America, they will, go to escape their judgment. Well, escape the nuclear destruction, pardon me, and then just wake up to the judgment of being fished out as dens, dens and holes, for us to, put them into pits. All right. Let me see if I can get that. I wanted to see if they put the cross reference. I'm gonna make it quick though. 7 days Holocaust. Yeah, we'll get that. You can get that. That's easy. Fact check. How long did Noah prophesy? He prophesied for 120 years. All right. You have it in Genesis 6:3, which I'll just get it. All right, Genesis 6:3, which it reads. All right. Well, I have to check it, double check, just to fact check even more. But yeah, man, over 100 years. I'll just leave it at that for now until I get the fact check. Brothers want to get the complete, they can give it. Okay, but yeah, it's your Bible quiz 101. Now we're just gonna get back to this, okay? Put the gravy on the meat.
Years ago, I had a set goal. I wanted my company to at least make $100,000.
She could be a tear, by the way.
And I will be satisfied. Well, with this war going on, and with everything that we have going on in politics, $100,000 is not enough. We're still underwater. We're still struggling. We're still trying to make ends meet. With my husband and myself bringing in $140,000 combined, it is not enough. It's not enough.
Right. So a person making six-figure is not enough. All right.
Can I get a metal container? Everything is going up. Groceries, everything. And I just want to be one of those business owners that's able to give back, able to be fair and even around the board. And sometimes it does seem like it's a war as far as the customers, because they'll see things and they may want it, but of course they can't get it.
Right, they can't buy it, which we already know. Where them scriptures come in. Okay. Where those that buyeth and selleth, I always go into these particular precepts. All right, this is Second Ezra chapter 16 to 40. Pardon me. All right, so it says, "O my people, hear my word. Make ye ready to the battle, and those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. And he that occupieth merchandise, as he that hath no profit by it. And that he that buildeth, as he that shall not dwell therein. He that soweth, as if he should not reap." All right, so he that planteth the vineyard, as he that shall not gather the grapes. So, as we do on the fashionable world is passing away. Soon they're putting a C up in the people, and people are going to accept it. The elect is going to, of course, reject it. They can, be martyrs, okay, be beheaded for testimony of Yahweh Shai. But you have a new order, a new financial system being set up. But people, they are trying to escape, all that is, okay, with the war, with a lot of these different events, by just eating, drinking, going to different events, all types of things of that sort. Okay, we're gonna play some more.
Something that they can afford, like last year, maybe 2 years ago, they can't really afford it now.
That's because of the inflation. The inflation goes into the dollar losing its value because of the more dollars in circulation. Okay, buying power is less. Take more dollars to buy the same thing, as the same thing continues to shrink to, that's Revelation 6. It talks about the black horse, that is.
The cost of everything that we do is going up. And the income for everything that we do is going down. And just availability of stuff is also getting to be a challenge. And then
because of famines. All right, that's another thing. Okay, and y'all know the scriptures. Okay, famines. That's part of when Matthew 24:7, "For the nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There shall be famines and pestilence, earthquakes in diverse places." The scriptures also talk about the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Okay, so these are all the different things, which are the prophecies that are happening, and it's going to get worse.
I've got so many friends that I've got customers who can't afford to shop with us anymore. I've got farmer friends who've gone bankrupt. You like that one?
Yeah, that's all prophecy. Scripture talk about how those that and basically sow seed and things of that sort, got a fearful consolation. When you go into all of that, It talk about how the husband. Dang, there's so many of them scriptures that I'm thinking about. But let me see if I can find one of them. You know, we seeing a lot of these end time prophecies, so it's like, what the hell? You know, what are you gonna do? Okay. Because this is going to ultimately lead towards famine, and it's going to lead towards those that do have things. They're going to get those things sought out by those that don't have things. All right? As it says, verse 23, second Edges 6 and 23, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. Okay? At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. Water. Okay? Shortage. Okay? Let me see if I can find that other scripture. Okay? Second Edges, 16th chapter. This is one. Second Edges 16 and 24. There shall be no man left to till the earth and sow it. Okay. Hey, these prophecies are going to take people out. Okay, a farmer, you know, is devastated and then takes himself out. It's a scenario that can play out and will and have been playing out too. Okay, leaving the harvest not to come in for people. Okay, this is yeah, I just had said that precept, I think. Second Edges 16. All right. If I'm not mistaken. All right, you can read that, but we're going to go down back to this and quickly close out, man, because, you know, this is what it is.
Okay.
This is a small business owner making this stuff from scratch sometimes.
Yeah, it's starting to slow down now, but what are we getting? You know, we're ruining our position in the world, we're being the bad guys, we're ruining the world economy, and we're gaining nothing. So
he's promising you making America great again while ruining your economy, right? Ruining your lifestyle, your pasthood, your, you know, pastime, your business. You try to make ice cream and sell ice cream at these farmer markets as a vendor.
The war with Iran, dude, like the ceasefire right now, but like I feel like that's just like the biggest topic of conversation. Like I did a market last week in South Bend, and that's what a lot of people were talking about. Like is it gonna keep going? Is it gonna stop? Like what's going on? Like what are we doing?
Yeah.
These are better. Kind of like,
and a lot of people don't know prophecy, so you know they're gonna bug out because they don't know what's next. All right.
yellow on the inside, so when they all open up, they look really pretty.
Currently got some type of blockade that's being told to us by U.S. Okay, going on with the Strait of Hormuz and such. Okay, U.S. began naval blockade of Iranian ports in Strait of Hormuz.
It looks nice together. I appreciate it. Good to see you.
Spring onions, produce, 2 for $5.
My wife and I probably talk about it quite often. Obviously, disapproval, much so. You know, obviously, it doesn't seem like a great thing. You know, never seems to be great for the economy. It seems good for the high ups, the billionaires, people making more money than they should be probably. But as like a low man on the totem pole, I'll say, you know, like it's just like, why? Just we don't need this, or, you know, it's supposed to be for us, you know, for our people, you know, here in America, like try to do more. There's so much more we could do. You know, you see how much they spend like in the first week, and you're like, and we had to cut Medicaid stuff for that.
Yeah, baby. Homeless outreach look like? They get given more opinions, so you know that's that. You know, I got something off rethinking the dollar, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna bring it out in this lesson. You know, I can. All right. All right, this podcast right here. Global food shortages get hit within 6 to 9 months.
Still looks like that.
Most people haven't realized how big this is yet. See, peace talks between the US and Iran didn't just stall, they collapsed. And when that happened, the entire balance of global trade shifted overnight. So what we're looking at now isn't just about geopolitical flare-ups. It's the early stage of what I call supply chain seizure event. And here's the part that should get your attention immediately. This isn't about politics anymore. It's about the flow. And when I mean flow, I'm talking about when things stop flowing, everything downstream seems to break. And according to the latest developments, the US has responded by announcing a full naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. So that single move has the potential to choke off one of the most critical arteries in the global economy. And obviously things are going to get very serious, and I mean fast. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to take a minute to share some thoughts in reference to the recent developments of the failed discussion on how to clear up this whole Strait of Hormuz narrative that we're being told from the Western Hemisphere, when all along it's clearly that the U.S. is not looking to make a deal. They're looking to dominate things as always. So in this video here, I'm going to share my 2 cents to try to put together the pieces of an alternative narrative that you will not hear from the mainstream media. And as always, if you guys enjoy these little quick takes, then make sure you subscribe so you never miss an update, and make sure you hit the bell notification so you get notified. And also drop a comment because I'm curious to get your thoughts on this matter. But first, I believe that it's just more of a illusion of control, which actually has broken. And so at first glance, it seems like this could be a power play where the United States tries to pressure Iran and Iran tries to hold leverage, which is all turned out to be some standard geopolitical chess match, it seems. But that framing misses what's actually happening. And so Iran wasn't fully blocking the strait before. Instead, it was doing something far more strategic. It was controlling the flow, letting some ships through, stopping others, and charging a toll outside the dollar. So think of it less like a wall and more of them being like a gatekeeper. And therein lies the problem. See, this is what I call a selective flow dominance. And it's powerful because it creates uncertainty. So you got markets can handle bad news, it seems, because bad is good and good is bad in this new world we're living in, but they can't handle the unpredictable nature of things not flowing. And so roughly you got 3,200 vessels that are already stuck in the Persian Gulf. And so that's just not oil tankers. That's everything from raw materials to industrial components. So now you have layers to the U.S. response. And a full blockade doesn't stabilize the situation, it freezes it all together. And then that leads to the next phase, which is the global supply shock, which is already here, but not being talked about much from mainstream media. And so with oil prices crossing 140 per barrel, this isn't the crisis itself, it's just a signal. And see, that number tells you that the system is already under stress. And so you have traders that are scrambling, you got supply routes are being rewritten in real time. And when physical markets panic, the ripple effects don't stay contained. So here's what most people are missing right now. See, oil is not just fuel, it's the backbone of the production altogether. So when oil flow gets disrupted, it drags everything with it. So you got plastics, you got chemicals, you got manufacturing inputs, transportation costs, even packaging is impacted by this. So you got over 40% of the world's polyethylene comes through this region. So that's used in nearly every industry you interact with on a daily basis. So this is where things is changing fast because the real pressure point isn't just oil. And one of the most important things I think is going to become front news pretty soon is the fact that the fertilizer bottleneck that nobody's really talking about. So about 1/3 of the world's nitrogen fertilizer moves through the Strait of Hormuz. So that details look small, but it's not. It's the trigger for what I call a delayed impact crisis. And here's how it works. Farmers don't need fertilizer eventually. They need it within a very specific window of time. So you miss that window and crop yields collapse completely. And so right now we're in that window where farmers across the northwestern hemisphere are already reacting. They're not waiting for headlines. They're watching shipments that aren't arriving. And here's the part most people aren't connecting just yet. So we're still eating food produced from last year. So everything feels normal because you still see food on the shelves in the store. But as I'm sure you noticed, the prices are higher, even though the shelves are stocked. But at 6 to 9 months from now, that's when the consequences really hits. So you're gonna have lower yields, which means tighter supply, which equals higher prices. So
And there you go. And that's there you have, that crazy famine. And that crazy hell, man. It's a lot that we're going to see happen in a very short span of time. Okay? Revelation chapter 6. Okay? You go into, a lot of these prophecies, which is of the second Esdras and the, 15 and 16 chapter, the Jacob trouble and such, all right, which it goes into the when you go into the pale horse, okay, and we moving right into it, okay, right into the full fruition of it, okay, because we definitely in Jacob trouble, we just at the beginning phases of it, all right, but it's only gonna ramp up and get very, very, very bitter, okay, and such, all right. Revelation 6 and 8, it says, and I look and behold a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed him, okay, the grave, all right. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword and with hunger and with death and with the beasts of the earth, okay. And y'all gonna see some crazy things come out of Esau Edom, okay. From the things that's what's gonna happen, all right, here, from the devil knowing that he got but a short time, okay, you're gonna unleash all, parts of all types of devices, thoughts, intents, evil intents, schemes against the Israelites, okay, but it's gonna impact everyone. There's Jacob trouble, as we go into, is also Esau's trouble. All right, the rest of these nations, okay, are gonna feel the hurt too. All right, remember, don't forget that Revelation 6 and 6 with that, starting at 5 with the black horse with the inflation and hyperinflation. All right, measure of wheat for a penny, and a measure of barley for a penny. Dealing with the wages. Okay, your day's wage means you getting so little. All right, for so much that you work for, right? The inflation and hyperinflation, your money don't have that buying power, okay? The inflation and hyperinflation will settle in, okay? And this is another way for that to happen and usher in the famine. And famine is terrible, all right? So, we just going to leave it at that. Hey, global food shortages could hit within 6 to 9 months, but hey, it can happen at any time. So, shalom to the elect, because prophecy is here.